Now on Coast TV News.
Pedals and scooters under review. How Ocean City could be changing the way you get around town. Security snag. Ellendale's surveillance plans run into resistance. How Delmarva Power factors into the project. And Blue Envelope. Delaware State Police out a new program for drivers with disabilities. We'll explain how it works.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
New rules for your ride. Ocean City rethinking where bikes and scooters can go. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Well, starting October 1st, the state of Maryland will allow bikes to ride on the sidewalks, but the town of Ocean City is considering its own rule to negate that. Today, the council agreed to draft an ordinance banning bikes on sidewalks, except in areas approved by the mayor and council. Coast TV photojournalist Matt Hipsman has reaction from locals and visitors.
When it comes down to the bikes in the OC, personally don't have a problem with it. There's certain times where certain parts of certain sidewalks should be nothing but straight pedestrians, especially when it comes down to a main road. If you have like a bike lane, bro, just take the bike lane. It's totally understandable.
People, they don't really they don't break the law, break the road like that. It's pretty chill over here. There's not really danger with them, I mean, if it is any danger, they got that little bell thingy, ding, 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 so you can hear it and be like, oh, snap. Look back real quick,
Honestly, I say this all the time. I wish the sidewalks was a little bigger. Not just with the biking, but it's also with tourists, too. During the summertime, OC gets packed. And since it gets packed, you want a bigger sidewalk so that way you can have more people come in and then more people leave out, just to avoid, cluster.
People's out here doing their thing. It's not really gonna hurt me, I just gotta have common sense and just know my surroundings as well.
You gotta think about it. Majority of people who comes to OC, you got a lot of J1s. So a lot of J1s ride either scooters or bikes. So if it was a bigger sidewalk, it wouldn't be more of a hassle at all. Just my personal opinion though.
Now, it's not just bicycles. According to today's Ocean City Council agenda, scooter collisions are at an all-time high in town. There's already been 38 collisions in Ocean City this year, and the OC Council believes restricting where scooters can ride could make things safer. The council discussed today whether or not to ban scooters on Coastal Highway, Baltimore Avenue, and Philadelphia Avenue. But passing this rule, it's a bit tougher than it sounds because the roads are owned by the state of Maryland. So Ocean City would need state approval before making any changes.
The cars and the scooters and the bikes don't even sometimes obey the traffic lights or the stop signs.
And so today, the Ocean City Council voted to work with the state on a law change that would let Ocean City regulate scooters on state roads. And we'll go right to our Coast TV poll now. We want to know what you think. Where do you think scooters should be allowed to ride? Looking at the updated results now, 29% say nowhere, 2% say sidewalks only, 7% just leave them alone, 2% also say the roads are okay. The most popular answer, though, bike lanes only. We also have a comment tonight. This is from Pat Warner in Millsboro. She says, bikes and scooters are good, but they must obey the laws. Too many times they blow through stop signs and lights. She says, give them tickets too. And you can leave your own comment. You can also still vote. Just go over to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. Now we're looking live into Ocean City, and our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams joins us now with a check on our forecast. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening to you, Christina. And we're staying very clear at this present time, and we're cooling off very nicely throughout most of the region. In Ocean View, we're holding at 65 degrees, and we're going to stay in the lower 60s with a few extra clouds streaming in after we get past the midnight hour. Winds are staying relatively calm. That's actually aiding in cooling us off quickly with clearing skies and light winds. It sets us up for some radiational cooling, and we've cooled down tremendously. 72 Indian River Inlet, but a 12-degree difference for us in Long Neck. That's pretty dramatic for such a short period or a short distance. 61 right now in Milton as well as Millsboro and in Willards. Current waves have now subsided even more so, down to only 2 feet, so that helps. But here's our concern for tomorrow. lots of sunshine. It's going to be cool, but lots of sunshine to the point where we're going to be at the very high side of the UV index for tomorrow. So yeah, you actually should wear a hat, sunglasses, and sunscreen, even though it's going to be a bit of a chill in the early morning hours. We'll talk more about this being a continuous concern in a moment. Till then, back to you, Christina.
All right, Paul Williams, thank you. Well, a Georgetown teenager is facing several charges after an arrest over the weekend. According to police, the 17-year-old is a suspect responsible for burglarizing or damaging 22 cars in 2 separate parts of town. Police say this included breaking the windows to get into those cars. Also, the Delaware Electric Cooperative is asking for your help to find a car that crashed into one of its electric poles last week. According to the co-op, it happened early last week near Seaford. You can see the damage on your screen now. Officials say the crash caused about $4,000 in damage. And the co-op says the car is believed to be a 2009 or 2011 Toyota Corolla. They say it could have front end damage, and the car was last seen driving south on Atlanta Road. In the Osprey Point community of Rehoboth Beach, a conference took place today where an attorney and homeowners announced they are suing the builder, NV Homes. The lawsuit alleges that NV Homes violated multiple acts and deceived homeowners, alleging they were deprived of millions of dollars. CoastTV spoke with an attorney of the case who says she believes the lawsuit is worth a number in the 20 millions. And we did reach out to NVR Inc., who owns NV Homes. They put us in contact with a media person who repeatedly told us no comment due to company policy. Homeowners in Osprey Point tell us they want their money back.
We have construction equipment, we have overgrown vegetation, which is not what we were promised. So Envy, I guess it's time to get your checkbook out.
Now, to be clear, NV Homes is the builder. There have already been previous lawsuits between NV Homes and the developer, Osprey Point Preserve, but in this situation, the homeowners are not alleging that Osprey Point did anything wrong. Security camera plans in Ellendale are hitting a snag. Officials say their plans to put cameras on electric poles across town have been shut down by Delmarva Power. The cameras would give the police department 24/7 surveillance, and they were looking to put them up 8 of them at intersections across the town. But they were then told to put up their own poles by Delmarva Power. Town leaders say that extra cost would limit them to 5 cameras.
The young lady that got shot in, I believe it was May of 24, I believe, and that would have been right under a camera, and they would have solved the case that night rather than 6 or 8 months later.
Now, officials with Delmarva Power tell us any equipment attached to their poles have to meet, quote, rigorous safety standards. They also say they have a review process for any equipment looking to be attached. A new program launched today in Delaware is aimed at supporting drivers with disabilities and improving communication with law enforcement. The Blue Envelope program, it was launched by Delaware State Police and partners, and it gives drivers with disabilities an envelope to show officers during traffic stops. It holds their license, registration, insurance, and tips or medical details that could affect behavior. Officials say the goal is to support drivers with autism and other disabilities during high-stress situations when communication can be especially challenging.
This is to reduce that anxiety for the driver and improve safety so they're more comfortable in driving and more comfortable in explaining voluntarily that they do have autism or another disability.
And Delaware is now the 14th state in the country to launch the Blue Envelope program. People interested in getting a Blue Envelope, they can visit any Delaware State Police troop location. Today was the culmination of a decades-long project to restore the oyster population of Maryland's waters. As part of the Chesapeake Bay Watershed Agreement, the state has been working with local agencies and nonprofits to restore the population in 5 tributaries. Today's planting in the Mannequin River was one of the last. Dr. Allison Colden with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation tells us the oysters are a keystone species, cleaning the water of the bay and helping out other marine life.
They also create their own habitat called oyster reefs, which are not only habitat for the oysters themselves, but more than 300 different species that live on and around those reefs.
Colden says the project has created over 1,300 acres of that reef in the bay. Maryland DNR says 7 billion oysters have been planted across the 5 tributaries during the project. A rash of fake calls reporting active shooter incidents at schools known as swatting has increased dramatically in recent years. And in the last week alone, there have been at least 7 such calls to universities across the country. NBC's Liz Kreutz has more on what authorities are doing to stop these calls and protect communities.
This morning, authorities investigating another spate of swatting incidents at schools across the country. Monday, at least 5 schools victims of the fake emergency calls. This comes on the heels of an active shooter hoax at the University of South Carolina Sunday.
We got alerts that there was an active shooter 6 times, and then all of a sudden they were just like, oh, it's all clear, and nothing happened.
And another at Villanova University last Thursday.
The victim is at Lancaster and Spring Mill with EMS, still waiting for the nature of the injury. It is a GSW.
It's a disturbing and dangerous trend, leaving students and parents on edge.
Well, it's the longest hour. I mean, I was very nervous, nerve-wracking.
And it's unclear what's behind the recent rash of swatting calls.
I believe that it's happening to some extent because they get a rush out of it. The problem is it's becoming a security risk.
Swatting has been a problem for years at schools, grocery stores, office buildings, and even people's homes. The Anti-Defamation League estimates there were at least 1,000 swatting incidents in 2019, a number that has only grown, prompting the FBI to start keeping a swatting database to help track and catch offenders. After Monday's rash of incidents, the Bureau stating in part, "We are aware of recent swatting incidents involving a number of colleges and universities and are working with our law enforcement partners." But experts say that these crimes will increase exponentially until the legal process catches up with the technology.
You're going to need to start prosecuting them, and you're going to need to be public about that prosecution so people just can't think they can do it with no penalty.
And because officials have to respond to each incident as if lives are in danger, the consequences of false calls can be fatal.
What is the impact that this has on schools and students?
You can have now people responding to emergencies, lights and sirens, and trying to get there in a hurry, and someone gets hurt or killed.
That was Liz Kreutz reporting, and we are just getting started tonight. Coming up ahead, Delaware lifeguards winning big for the 2nd year in a row. The Sussex County Life Saving Association takes home a national championship. But first, some brutal weather in Arizona today. What caused a wall of dust to sweep through Phoenix?
And as we see the cool air sweeping through the bay, we're looking for 77 for the high on Wednesday with plenty of sunshine. But the sunshine might actually be a little bit of a problem. We'll explain what that means coming up in 60 seconds. Well, clear skies, wind staying relatively calm, usually a good thing. And we're going to cool down very nicely. But the same clear skyline that's going to allow us to cool off quickly tonight may also work a little bit against us for tomorrow. I'll show you why in a moment. So in Rehoboth right now, we are a cool 66 degrees. Winds are calm, and we have mainly clearing skies. Now, we will see a few clouds begin to develop right around 2 to 3 o'clock. But then the clouds are not going to stick around for a long period of time. As soon as the sun comes off, start to burn those off pretty quickly. We are on a cool side of the pillow, so to speak. Right now, we're at 61 degrees in Milton, as well as Millsboro and Milford. We're at 60 degrees at Laurel, Delmar, as well as Gumboro, and we're holding at 61 degrees right now, Ocean Pines. Winds are staying calm, so we're setting up for perfect conditions for what's called radiational cooling. It's kind of like when you're sleeping and somebody snatches the cover off you real quick and you get a little chill. Well, it's kind of like this kind of situation. We have no cloud cover, and we have relatively light winds to calm winds. So a bit of radiational cooling or rapid cooling will occur. We have no additional watches or warnings in effect for our immediate area, so that stays clear for us. So we're quiet there on the whole front. Now, for the last few months, we've been cooler than usual, even more dramatically cooler, because even as you take a look at some of the days that were above the norm for this time of the year, those little check marks are a little small compared to ones that are below, okay? So on average there, just from a visual standpoint, you can see on average, the below normal temperatures were more dramatic and had a more impactful situation. Now let's talk about that sunshine maybe being a problem. You see, we're still at the end of the summer season, so to speak, but the UV index is still a concern. Here's the trick. It's going to feel cool, you know, tonight, tomorrow night, and then the following nights, and in the morning time. But the sun is going to be bearing down on us, even though it's not going to feel hot. It can burn us very easily. So you're going to need to be mindful of limiting your time outdoors and wear your SPF plus 30, because you're going to need that sunblock, particularly if you're fair complected. 76 degrees in Lewis for the high. We're looking for 76 in Cambridge and Vienna, and we anticipate 76 Princess Anne, as well as Pocomoke City and Snow Hill. Now, as far as along the coast is concerned, ranging between 75 to 79 degrees. 75 Rehoboth Beach, sunshine. 79, a few more clouds in Chincoteague, and winds out of the north at 14 miles per hour. We start off in the 50s for Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon. We'll climb into the 870s, pardon me. And then early Thursday, we go right back into that same situation. So tonight, cooling off while clearing, and 58 degrees, clear. Brilliant sunshine for tomorrow, and 77 degrees. 80 for Thursday, mild and cool, especially in the early morning hours before we reach up to the 80-degree mark. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Now, keep in mind, we're going to hit 55 for tomorrow night going into tomorrow, and then we'll warm to the 80s, and then we'll go back into the 70s going into the weekend, and Labor Day, we're looking for about 77 degrees as well. As you take a look at what's happening with this video right now, this is what a haboob looks like for us right now, folks. And we're looking at this right now as far as what's happening with this dust storm that's overtaking. This is courtesy of Emily McDonald. We're seeing that this dust storm is taking over the entire region right now due to the dry or harsh conditions in the area. And so we anticipate that the folks that are dealing with it over on the West Coast, they're just doing the best they can with what little bit that they have.
A sight straight out of a movie. A towering cloud of dust swallowing up parts of Phoenix.
Can't see anything.
Drivers stopped as their cars were surrounded. State and weather agencies warning drivers to proceed with caution as the storm made visibility dangerously low.
We can see a little bit in front of us. I think there's a car behind us.
For about an hour, planes at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport couldn't take off or land due to a ground stop. Severe thunderstorms followed, leaving behind downed trees, wind damage, and widespread power outages.
Hearing the trees crack and stuff, this one felt like it was fast but devastating at the same time.
The intense dust storm known as a haboob swept through Arizona Monday night.
Look at this thing. They just got the warning like 10 minutes ago.
These types of storms are nothing new in Arizona's monsoon season, but this one packed an extra punch when the thunderstorm collapsed, blasting winds outward, scooping up desert soil and building it into a rolling wall of dust, which can climb thousands of feet high and stretch for miles. Monday's haboob followed a weekend dust storm in Nevada that blew through the annual Burning Man arts gathering, causing vendors to scramble to secure their tents.
This is what twilight looks like.
And the southwest monsoon pattern isn't done yet. Phoenix could see more thunderstorms Tuesday into Wednesday. In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida.
And new tonight, nearly 200 current and former Federal Emergency Management Agency employees sent a warning letter to Congress regarding recent changes. Monday, FEMA workers accused the Trump administration of eroding the agency's response capabilities and appointing unqualified leadership. The letter, titled Katrina Declaration, warned about the possibility of failures similar to the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. The letter argues reforms in place since the deadly storm are now being unraveled. And the group is calling for FEMA to become a cabinet-level independent agency. Coming up, it's back to the old timer for Cracker Barrel, the chain restaurant ditching its new logo. Who's celebrating the decision?
This is Coast TV News at 11.
Delaware State Beach Patrol helped bring home a national championship for the second year in a row for the Sussex County Life-Saving Association. Delaware Beach Patrol say they had plenty of real-life practice on local beaches. That included 251 rescues, 64 medical emergencies requiring EMS, 47 lost people, and more than 400 jellyfish stings. The Cambridge Police Department say they conducted a traffic enforcement initiative on August 25th in response to growing concerns about traffic and parking violations across the city. Officers conducted 55 traffic stops involving cars, bicycles, and scooters, resulting in 75 citations and warnings for various violations. Police officials say the initiative is part of an ongoing effort to educate the public and deter unsafe driving behaviors. $22 billion. That's how much the United States collected in tariff payments from importers on Friday. The U.S. has taken in nearly $30 billion in tariff revenue this month, already surpassing July's record by $4 million. That's according to the Treasury Department. And on Wednesday, tariffs on most Indian goods are set to double to 50%. Well, we told you last night about Cracker Barrel responding to criticism over its new modernized logo. Well, you can just forget that because Cracker Barrel is now completely scrapping the new logo after intense backlash. The company said the new logo will go away and the old-timer will remain. Hours after Cracker Barrel announced it was going back to the old look, President Trump congratulated the company, saying all their fans appreciate it. Coming up in sports, we check in on a top team in the Henlopen North to see how they're preparing for Thursday night lights.
And here's what you prepare for your golf forecast. Prepare to have the best day you've ever had because it's going to be gorgeous weather. It's going to be mostly sunny again.
Well, we hear a lot about cannabis being used as medicine in the dozens of states where it's legal for recreational use, including Delaware. But with so many options, where do you start? As Barbara Morse reports, a new company has developed a scientific way to sift through it all.
It's not about getting high.
Dr. Jason Inuchilli is the founder and chief architect of PowerLeaf.
It's a product pairing system.
Being used here at Mother Earth Wellness Cannabis Dispensary in Rhode Island.
Cannabis, there's a ton of variety out there. A whole bunch of different products with different names, and it doesn't tell you much just by looking at it.
In fact, as an oncologist, his cancer patients would ask about the medical use of marijuana. That's what led him to change course.
So there's a lot of research that went into this, and as I was working with medical patients, helping them pick the right types of products for whatever ailment they were using it for, I sort of was exposed to a lot of science, and I developed a scientific algorithm.
And now he's putting that science to the test.
What we've done is, for the first time ever, we have linked the lab testing data behind that particular product that's on the menu all the way down to the batch that it came from. And we've simplified that information into usable information that you can understand.
Some people are just using this to smoke and get high.
Dominique Little with PowerLeaf helps customers here weed through what works best for what.
But a lot of people are using this to get out of bed, for pain, for anxiety, for depression, You
can actually pick an activity that you want to pair cannabis with, and this scientific algorithm that has a link to the entire inventory in the store will pull the products that best match that chemical mind state that you want to be in.
And that was Barbara Morse reporting. Right now, this is just a pilot program in Rhode Island. The hope is to prove its accuracy and then eventually roll it out nationally. In sports tonight, we check in on the Cape Henlopen Vikings to see how they're getting ready for the season ahead. DSN's Kayla Santiago is in Lewis with more.
At the home of the Cape Henlopen Vikings in Lewis, Delaware, as the team behind me is getting ready for Game 1 of the season. Something different here, though, in 2025 for the Cape Henlopen Vikings is the man of the hour in the head coaching position, Chip Knapp. The former Wesley College and Dover head coach brings 35-plus years of experience to the program. During his time with the Senators, he led them to 3 winning seasons plus a state finals appearance. Now he brings all that to Cape Henlopen High School.
Football's in my blood. I've been doing it for so long, and I was out for a year, and of all the opportunities out there, Cape is one of the best in the state, and I'm real happy to be here. I got great support from everybody, from the administration to our athletic directors to the support staff. It's been a great experience.
And Coach Knapp also has the opportunity to lead one of the best quarterbacks in his class in the first state.
Well, Jameson has been a pleasure to coach. He's extremely talented, and I coached a lot of quarterbacks that have had a lot of success, and he fits right in there with them, not only with his physical skills, but as a person, as a hard worker. He's very intelligent, and I'm looking for big things from Jameson.
It all begins this week for the Vikings. Cape Henlopen taking on St. Mark's this Thursday at 7 p.m. at Legend Stadium. Reporting in Lewis, Delaware for the Delmarva Sports Network, I'm Kayla Santiago.
Right now, Ocean City, we have some dealable and comfortable waves. Temperature staying in the low 60s, actually. You can call and keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. The number to call is 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away. Sponsored by the law offices of Brockstedt, Mendalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Listen, we are going to be a bit on the cool side for the next few days in a row. Temperatures will fall to the mid-50s for Wednesday night going into Thursday. And then on Thursday, we go into the 80s. But then as we go into the weekend, we're looking for 3 days straight of temperatures of 77 degrees, temperatures in the 50s. This is going to give us more than a taste of fall. We're going to have a big helping of it, so to speak. And that'll go into the Labor Day as we begin to kind of change over to our seasons here pretty soon. But just get ready for that chill in the air. But remember, you need to wear the sunblock because the ultraviolet index is going to be on the high side, despite how chilly or chilled it may feel.
All right, thanks, Paul, and thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 11 tonight. You can find more local news and local weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon's up next, and we'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.